So with this Viper, it gives us the ability for 5 products, and we do initially send them out with 1 unlock code for variable rate, and at that point it gives us our auto zone command. The other main benefit to it is that it reads live in the bottom here our actual tank weights. So something that is specific to us is that we do have load cells on individual tanks, and that those weights are displayed live time on the main operating screen. That gives us the ability of new this year of what's called Smart Cal, and that allows our customers to do calibrations throughout the field, so they can actually do a calibration, then seed 20 acres to make sure that their calibration is correct by utilizing load cells and in between the field computer knowing how many acres were seeded and at how many revolutions everything's turned. It then knows the actual product weight left in the tank, and it can also then give us a new cal number. So something that is new with us, so we'll go through that in more detail tomorrow. Blockage sensors, we do have the ability to operate Agtron blockage sensors with our Viper Pro, as well as then we can read fan speed, so it's also reading live up in the top here, fan speeds. The blockage was reading down in the bottom. And why we can go to variable rate is we do have all of our tanks are hydraulically driven, so it's all hydraulic motors for each tank that's metering. And some other functions that we have within our own software is what's called FLIP, full last implement pass, which allows us to seed headlands last and map out virtual passes so that we're not in a sense disturbing seeded areas when we're seeding the main field. 2014, anything SM14 will come out with slingshot field hubs, which allows us to remote into any Viper Pro from here. The other thing that's available is SmartTrax auto steer through it as well. So if you're a Raven dealer, it's something that then you can add in an actual SmartTrax system should the customer like. With this, this is a control box that is actually underneath the actual Viper Pro here. So when we're looking at it, it gives us the control of zones, which is the top row of switches. This is all of our zone switches. Those switches can operate in off, accu, or on. And to get them in an auto mode, we just simply operate them in accu. So those are the zone switches along the top. The center ones you can see on the screen here are the product switches. So if you remember, I mentioned that we can operate up to 5 products. So there's 5 product switches there, and they can be off, manual, or auto. And with that, we do operate them in auto, so that when you have your speed, it automatically will change your rate according to the speed. At the very side, we have our actual master switch, which is on, off, or override. Override we'll show you tomorrow is something that when you come back into the field, you can bump it all the way up into override to get it to override for a certain amount of time that you can set, so that it'll overseed, or so that if you want to check to make sure seed boots and stuff are clear, some customers want to just simply bump it to see that product comes through and is laying underneath each boot at the machine. So it's a stationary way of overriding it. From there, we have our opener switches. So I showed you the cruiser, which is the base control for 2014, and that's operating toolbars. So with the Viper Pro, we did some beta tests through the last couple years here, and for everything 2014 SM14, we now are operating our actual drill through the Viper Pro and its corresponding switch box. So with this one here, we'll go through it in far more detail tomorrow, but we do have our quick dump, which is our pressure override right here, as well as our actual opener pressure switch, which is on the side here, which is simply down is on and up is off. So that switch is actually set up to operate everything. So when you put it down, it turns the opener pressure on, as well as it also turns product tanks on and starts that metering. So it's one master switch.